The medical bay smelled like 3 different atmospheres mixed together. Hana wrinkled her nose as she worked on her patient. The delphine in front of her had gills that needed special water flowing through them. She carefully adjusted the tubes while the creature made clicking sounds. "You'll be fine," Hana said softly. "The infection is clearing up. Come back in 3 days." The delphine clicked again and swam out in its water-filled mobility suit. Hana watched it go, then sat down heavily. Another 14-hour shift. Her eyes burned with tiredness. The coffee had stopped working hours ago. Void's Edge Station never slept. Neither did she most days. Someone always needed help. Someone was always sick or hurt. She was the only doctor in this section who could treat multiple species. The only one who bothered to learn. Her computer beeped. Hana sighed and pulled up the message. Then she sat up straight. Her tiredness vanished. Emergency distress call. Science vessel. Crew of 20. Multiple casualties. Life support failing. And then the part that made her heart race, 5 pregnant females on board. All going into labor. Hana read the details twice. The ship was caught near the dying star. A solar storm had crippled them. Radiation was cooking them slowly. They had maybe 2 days before everyone died. She pulled up the station command channel. A meeting was already happening. She could see the faces of various officials on the screen. They were arguing. "Too dangerous," one administrator said. "The storm is getting worse. Any rescue ship would be torn apart." "The radiation levels are extreme," another added. "We'd lose more lives trying to save them." "They're scientists," a third voice said coldly. They knew the risks. Hana felt anger rise in her chest. She opened her microphone. "I volunteer to go." The room went silent. Faces turned to look at her video feed. "Dr. Kim," the station commander said carefully. "Did you read the report?" "It's a suicide mission." "I read it," Hana said. 5 mothers. 5 babies. That's 10 lives at minimum, plus the rest of the crew. I won't sit here and let them die because it's dangerous. Everything worth doing is dangerous. You're one doctor, someone protested. One human. What can you possibly do? Before Hana could answer, another voice cut through the channel. Deep, rough, like rocks grinding together. "She won't go alone." Everyone turned. On the screen, a new face appeared. Not a face that looked human at all. Black scales, forearms, eyes that glowed faintly red. A Vraxian. Hana had seen Vraxians before. Everyone had. They were hard to miss. 8 feet tall, built like they were made for war. Predators. Dangerous. Most species gave them a wide path in the corridors. "Taiwan," the commander said, surprise clear in his voice. "You want to volunteer your war pack for this?" "Yes," the Vraxian said simply. His voice had an accent Hana couldn't place. 5 mothers. 5 young. It is the highest duty of any warrior to protect the next generation, even if that generation is not our own. Someone laughed nervously. "Vraxians and a human? Working together? That's almost as crazy as the rescue itself." Taewon's red eyes fixed on the screen. "Do you have better options?" "The human doctor has the skill. My warriors have the strength. Together we can do this. Alone we all fail." Hana found herself staring at the Vraxian. She had never spoken to one before. Had never been this close, even through a screen. But something in his words resonated. He was right. They needed each other. "I accept," Hana said. "When do we leave?" 6 hours, Taewon replied. "Meet at Docking Bay 7. Bring everything you need for multiple births. Different species. I will handle the rest." The meeting dissolved into chaos, arguments, protests, legal concerns. Hana closed the channel. She had 6 hours to prepare for the most important work of her life. She started pulling medical supplies, incubation units, surgical tools, medications for a dozen different biologies. Her hands moved automatically while her mind raced. 5 births, 5 different species, in a damaged ship. During a radiation storm, her door chimed. Hana looked up to see her brother Do-hyun standing there. He looked worried. "I heard," Do-hyun said. "Hana, this is insane. You could die out there." "People are already dying," Hana replied, not stopping her work. "I can help them. Let someone else go. Let someone else be the hero for once." Do-hyun grabbed her arm gently. "You're always doing this. Always putting yourself last." Hana stopped and looked at her brother. He was younger by 6 years. Still had hope in his eyes. Still believed the galaxy was fair. "Mom and Dad died because no one helped them," Hana said quietly. "The colony had no doctor. No one who knew what to do. They just died and everyone said it was unavoidable. I promised myself I would never let that happen again. Not if I could stop it. Do-hyun's face softened. He pulled her into a hug. Then I'm coming with you. You'll need an engineer. That ship isn't going to fix itself. Do-hyun, no. It's too dangerous. You don't get to tell me what's too dangerous, he said firmly. Not when you're flying into a solar storm. I'm coming. Don't argue, Hana wanted to protest. Wanted to keep him safe. But she knew that look. Do-hyun had inherited the same stubbornness she had. When he decided something, that was it. Fine, she said. But you do exactly what I say. And if things go bad, you get out. Promise me. I promise, Do-hyun lied. They both knew it. 5 hours later, Hana stood in docking bay 7. Her medical supplies were packed into sealed containers. Do-hyun stood beside her with his engineering gear. They watched as Vraxian warriors loaded equipment onto a massive transport ship. The Vraxians moved with efficiency. No wasted motion. Each one was huge, dwarfing the humans. Their scales gleamed under the bay lights. Weapons hung from their belts. They looked like they were preparing for war. One approached them, the largest one, Taewon. Up close, he was even more impressive. Hana barely came up to his chest. He had to look down to meet her eyes. Dr. Kim, he said. His voice was surprisingly soft for such a large creature. Your supplies are being loaded. We launch in 30 minutes. Thank you, Hana said. She tried not to show how nervous she was. Standing this close to a Vraxian was like standing next to a tank. Your help means everything. It is duty, Taewon replied. He tilted his head, studying her. You are small for a human. I'm average, Hana said defensively. You're just really tall. Something that might have been amusement flickered across his face. Yes, we are. But size does not matter for what comes next. Only skill and will. You have both, I think. How do you know? Hana asked. You just met me. Because you volunteered, Taewon said simply. When others made excuses, you stepped forward. That tells me everything I need to know. He turned to go, then paused. The journey will be difficult. 18 hours through the storm. The ship will shake. Radiation will rise. Some of my warriors are afraid. It is good to be afraid. Fear keeps us alive. Are you afraid? Hana asked. Taewon looked at her with those glowing red eyes. Terrified, he said. But I go anyway. That is what warriors do. What healers do too, I think. Then he was gone, barking orders to his pack in their harsh language. Do-hyun whistled low. Well, he said. That was intense. I think he likes you. Don't be ridiculous, Hana muttered. But she felt her cheeks warm. 20 minutes later, they were strapped into seats aboard the transport. The ship was designed for Vraxians, so everything was oversized. Hana felt like a child in an adult's chair. Around them, 12 Vraxian warriors checked their equipment one last time. Taewon's voice came over the speakers. All crew prepare for launch. Our path takes us into darkness and fire, but on the other side, lives wait for us. Lives we will save. This is our purpose. This is our honor. Hold strong. The engines roared to life. The ship shuddered and lifted from the deck. Through the viewports, Hana watched Void's Edge station fall away. Ahead, the dying star burned angry red. The storm around it looked like a living thing, twisting and writhing. They were flying straight into it. Hana closed her eyes and thought of 5 mothers she had never met. 5 babies waiting to be born. She thought of her own mother, dead because no one came to help. Not this time, she promised silently. This time someone comes. This time they live. The ship accelerated. The storm rushed toward them. And somewhere in the darkness ahead, people waited for a miracle they didn't know was coming. The first hour was calm, too calm. Hana sat strapped in her seat, watching the viewports as the storm grew closer. The dying star pulsed like a diseased heart, throwing off waves of radiation and plasma, beautiful and deadly. Around her, the Vraxian warriors were quiet. Their usual rough banter had faded. They knew what was coming. So did she. The ship hit the storm's edge at hour 2. The change was instant. The smooth flight became violent shaking. Warning alarms screamed. The lights flickered red. Hana gripped her armrests. Beside her, Do-hyun had gone pale. Even the Vraxians looked tense, their scales darkening with stress. Shields holding, came Taewon's voice over the speakers. Radiation at 40% tolerance. We are fine. A massive impact rocked the ship. Something exploded outside, lighting up the viewports with white fire. Hana's stomach dropped as the ship spun. Correction, Taewon said, his voice tight. Now we are fine. The hours crawled by. The storm got worse. Radiation climbed. 60%. 70%. The ship's hull groaned under the stress. Hana could feel heat seeping through the walls. At hour 5, the starboard shield generator failed. Alarms shrieked. The radiation jumped to 90% in that section. Taewon appeared in the cabin, his face grim. We need to repair it. The tunnel to the generator is full of hard radiation. Anyone who goes in will be sick. Maybe die. I'll go, said one of his warriors immediately. A female named Somin. I am smallest. I fit best. I'll go too, Hana said, standing up. If the radiation is that bad, you'll need medical help immediately after. I should be there. Taewon looked at her for a long moment. You understand what you are offering? The tunnel is small, hot. The radiation will cook you from the inside. I understand, Hana said. But if we don't fix it, we all cook anyway. At least this way, we have a chance. Something shifted in Taewon's expression. Respect, maybe. Or concern. Then go. Quickly. I will monitor from here. The maintenance tunnel was worse than Hana imagined. Barely 3 feet wide. Metal walls that radiated heat. The air itself seemed to glow with invisible poison. She crawled behind Somin and another warrior named Junho, her skin already prickling with radiation burns. There, Somin said, pointing with one of her 4 arms. The generator was a mass of melted components and exposed wiring. We need to replace the core and reroute power. 10 minutes, maybe. Do it, Hana said. She pulled out her medical scanner. The readings made her stomach turn. They were all getting lethal doses by the second. But 10 minutes wouldn't kill them. Not quite. The Vraxians worked with incredible speed. Their multiple arms moved in coordination, pulling parts, connecting wires, sealing breaches. Hana watched for signs of radiation sickness. Junho started bleeding from his nose at minute 7. Somin's scales began turning gray at minute 9. Done, Somin gasped. Generator online, go, go! They crawled back through the tunnel. Hana's vision swam. Her skin felt like it was on fire. Behind her, Junho collapsed. She and Somin dragged him the last 20 feet to safety. The moment they cleared the tunnel, Hana went to work. Anti-radiation drugs, fluids, pain medication. Her hands shook as she worked, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. These warriors had just risked their lives. She would not let them die now. Taewon appeared beside her, a medical kit in his arms. Tell me what to do. I will help. Hold this, Hana said, shoving an IV bag at him. Keep it elevated. And talk to them. Keep them conscious. For the next hour, the Alpha warrior became a nurse. He held equipment, talked softly to his injured pack members, followed Hana's instructions without question. She had expected him to be squeamish or difficult. Instead, he was calm and efficient. You are good at this, Taewon said quietly as they worked. Had a lot of practice, Hana replied. Grew up in a colony with no real medical care. You learn or people die. Your parents? He asked. Hana's hands paused for a moment. Dead, preventable illness. No one knew how to help them. I am sorry, Taewon said. I too have lost family. My mate, my unborn hatchling. Raiders attacked while I was away. When I returned, they were gone. Hana looked up at him. In that moment, she saw past the scales and claws and alien features. She saw someone who understood loss, who carried the same burden she did. Is that why you volunteered? She asked. To save others because you couldn't save them? Yes, Taewon said simply. Every life I protect is a life they would have wanted protected. It gives meaning to the loss. I understand that, Hana said softly, more than you know. They worked in silence after that, but the silence felt different. Comfortable, like they had known each other longer than a few hours. By hour 12, the storm reached its peak. The ship bucked and twisted like a living thing. Metal screamed. Systems failed and came back online. The radiation counter climbed past safe levels and stayed there. The crew gathered in the main cabin. There was no point staying strapped in anymore. If the ship broke apart, restraints wouldn't save them. They might as well face death together. Someone suggested sharing stories. A Vraxian tradition, apparently. Facing death with the names of the fallen on your lips. One by one, the warriors spoke. Tales of hunts and battles. Of family lost and honor gained. Their voices were rough but honest. When it came to Hana's turn, she hesitated. What story did she have to match theirs? She wasn't a warrior. Had never hunted. Never fought in battle. Tell us of Earth, Taewon said gently. Tell us of your homeworld. Many of us have never heard a human speak of it, so Hana talked about Earth, about blue skies and oceans, about forests and mountains, about human cities that stretched for miles, about children playing in parks, about seasons changing, about snow and rain and sunshine. The Vraxians listened with fascination. Their own world was harsh, hot. Everything there was a predator or hiding from predators. The idea of a world with so much water, so much green life was strange to them. And human young? Asked Somin, who had recovered from her radiation exposure. They are weak, yes? I have heard they cannot walk for months after birth. Yes, Hana said. Human babies are helpless. They need constant care for years. They can't hunt or fight or do anything useful for a very long time. How did your species survive? Unyo asked, confused. On a death world with helpless young? Our hatchlings can hunt within a year. We protected them, Hana said. All of us. The whole community. We built safe places. We took turns watching. We taught them slowly, and we never, ever abandoned them. That's what makes humans strong. Not our bodies. Our refusal to give up on the vulnerable. The cabin was quiet. The Vraxians looked at each other. Finally, Taewon spoke. That is a strength we do not have. We are born ready to fight, but we do not know how to protect the truly helpless. Perhaps that is why the galaxy needs both our kinds. At hour 15, disaster struck. The pilot, a crystalline alien named Wonchik, suddenly went rigid. His body began to crystallize further. He was dying. His species' response to lethal radiation. Do-hyun lunged for the controls. I've got it. I've got it. But the ship was already spinning. The storm had them. Gravity whipped them around. Hana slammed into a wall. Her vision exploded with stars. Do-hyun, she screamed. Her brother fought the controls. Manual navigation through a solar storm was supposed to be impossible. The gravitational eddies alone could crush a ship. But Do-hyun had studied stellar mechanics his whole life. He knew the patterns, knew how the forces moved. Hold on, he shouted. I'm threading the needle. The ship twisted. Dove. Rose. Spun through spaces that seemed too small to exist. Hana watched her brother work and finally understood. This was his courage, his way of saving lives. Not with medicine, but with skill and determination and faith in science. The storm began to ease at hour 17. The shaking lessened. The radiation dropped. Through the viewports, Hana could see clear space ahead. They had made it through the worst. Target ship ahead, Do-hyun said, his voice shaking with exhaustion. 5 minutes to dock. The crew let out sounds of relief. Some laughed. Others prayed in their own languages. They had survived. Against all odds, they had made it. Hana felt a hand on her shoulder. Taewon stood beside her. His scales were warm through her suit. His red eyes held concern. You are hurt, he said, pointing to her arm. Blood seeped through her sleeve where she had hit the wall. It's nothing, Hana said. I'll fix it later. You should tend to it now. You cannot help others if you bleed out. His voice was gentle but firm. Hana started to argue, then stopped. He was right. And the way he looked at her with that strange mix of concern and respect made her chest feel tight. Okay, she said quietly. I will. As she bandaged her arm, the damaged science vessel came into view. Dark, broken, spinning slowly in the void. Somewhere inside were 5 mothers and their unborn young. Ready? Taewon asked. Hana picked up her medical bag. Checked her supplies one last time. Thought about everything that could go wrong. 5 different species, 5 different biologies, limited equipment, a damaged ship. Then she thought about her parents. About all the people who had died because no one came. About the choice she had made years ago to never let that happen again. Ready, Hana said. Let's bring them home. The science vessel was a tomb. Bodies floated in the corridors, frozen in their final moments. Hana forced herself to look away. She could not help the dead, only the living. Medical bay this way, Taewon said, reading the ship's emergency signs. His warriors formed a protective circle around Hana as they moved through the dark hallways. They found them in the medical bay. 5 females, all heavily pregnant, huddled together in the only room with working life support. The air was thin, the temperature too cold. But they were alive, help us, one whispered. A human woman, pale and terrified. Please. The contraction started hours ago. Hana rushed to her side. I'm Dr. Kim, we're here to get you out. All of you. But first I need to see who needs immediate help. She moved quickly from mother to mother. A Corthan female, insect-like, her abdomen swollen with larvae. A Delphin, gills fluttering weakly. A massive Gorvan, her gray skin slick with pain sweat. And a Vraxian female, her scales dark with stress. When Tewan saw the Vraxian female, he went completely still. "Myung," he said, his voice strange. "Cousin, what are you doing here?" The female's eyes widened in fear. Before she could answer, Do-hyun pushed past them and fell to his knees beside her. "Myung." "Oh, stars, Myung," Hana's stomach dropped. She looked at her brother, at the Vraxian female, at the way they held hands, at the love and terror in both their faces. "You two," Taewon said slowly. "You are together. This hatchling, it is yours." "Yes," Myung whispered. "We hid it. We knew both our peoples would reject us, but the hatchling comes now and I am so afraid. Without proper care I will die. The hatchling will die. Please, Taewon. Please do not judge us now." The cabin went silent. Everyone watched Taewon. His face was unreadable. His claws flexed. For a long moment no one breathed. Then Taewon knelt beside his cousin. "I will stand as witness. By my word as Alpha, this birth is legitimate. This hatchling will be recognized. Your bond is seen." Myung began to cry. Do-hyun pulled her close, his own eyes wet. Around them, the other Vraxian warriors murmured in surprise, but none spoke against their Alpha's decision. "Right," Hana said, shaking herself. "We can deal with feelings later. Right now I have 5 mothers in labor in limited time. Taewon, I need your warriors as medical assistants. Can they follow orders?" "They will do whatever you command," Taewon said immediately. "Good, because this is going to be ugly." The Corthan female went into active labor first. Wraith, her name was. She had been holding off the birth for hours but could not wait longer. "I need chemical bath," Wraith clicked in broken common language. "Larvae die without it, cannot survive in air." Hana's mind raced. She had no proper chemical bath. The ship's supplies were limited, but she had a chemistry lab. And she had Do-hyun. Do-hyun! "I need you to make a solution. Here's the chemical formula." She rattled off compounds and ratios. "Can you do it?" "On it," Do-hyun said, already running to the lab. Wraith's larvae began emerging. Tiny, translucent things that looked like grains of rice. They came fast. Dozens of them. Hana had 4 Vraxian warriors stationed around Wraith, their multiple arms catching larvae as they emerged. It was surreal. These massive predators, each one capable of tearing metal, handling newborn larvae with infinite gentleness. Their claws became instruments of care. Their rough voices murmured encouragement. Do-hyun returned with containers of solution. "Will this work?" Hana tested it quickly. "Close enough." "It would have to be." "Start placing larvae in the solution, gently, 1 per container." They worked for 20 minutes. 89 larvae in total. Every single one survived, writhing happily in their makeshift baths. Wraith wept with relief. "1 down," Hana muttered. 4 to go. The Delphine female Naya went into labor next. Her twins were coming, but she needed water. Full immersion. The ship's water system was contaminated with radiation. "We create pool," said Somin, "with our bodies. We hold water, keep it warm." "That's insane," Hana started to say. Then she realized it might work. Vraxian body temperature ran hot. They could heat and hold water. 6 warriors formed a circle, their arms linked together. Do-hyun jury-rigged a water recycling system to pour clean water into the living basin. Within minutes, they had a small pool, kept at perfect temperature by the warrior's body heat. Naya slipped into the water with a sigh of relief. Her gills flared. Within an hour, both twins emerged, healthy and strong. The warriors who had served as the pool looked exhausted but proud. 2 down, Hana said, but her hands were shaking now. The stress was building. 3 more births. 3 more chances for something to go wrong. The Gorvan female, Zira, had been in labor for 3 days. She was dying. Her massive frame trembled with exhaustion, but she refused help. "Is weakness," Zira growled when Hana approached. "Gorvan births alone. Asking for help is shame. Your pride will kill you," Hana said bluntly. "And your baby? Is that honorable?" "Is tradition," Zira said, but her voice wavered. Hana knelt beside the massive female. "My mother died because she was too proud to ask for help. She thought she could handle it alone. She was wrong. I was 10 years old when I watched her die. Don't make your child watch you die for the same stupid reason." Zira's eyes filled with tears. I am so tired, she whispered. So very tired. Then rest, Hana said gently. Let me work. Let me save you both. The birth was brutal. The baby was enormous, stuck in the birth canal. Hana had to perform an emergency procedure that made her stomach turn. She cut, she pulled. She worked with blood up to her elbows while Zira screamed. But when the baby finally emerged, wailing and healthy, Zira looked at Hana with something like worship. Clan Mother, she said, using the highest title her people had. You are Clan Mother. You saved my line. 3 down, Hana whispered. Her vision swam. When had she last slept? 40 hours ago? 50? The human and the Vraxian remain, Taewon said softly. He appeared beside her, offering water. Drink, rest for 5 minutes. Can't rest. They need me. They need you alive, Taewon said firmly. Drink, I will watch them. Nothing will happen in 5 minutes, Hana drank. The water tasted like metal, but she didn't care. Around her, the medical bay had become something strange and beautiful, Vraxian warriors cradling alien young, mothers from different species helping each other. A human, a Korthan, a Delphine, a Gorvan, and a Vraxian all together, bound by the shared experience of birth. Myung's labor began with complications. Vraxian births were always dangerous. The egg came first, large and hard-shelled. Then the mother's body needed 6 hours to recover before helping the hatchling break free. If the mother was too weak, the hatchling died trapped. The egg emerged, beautiful, pale blue with dark veins. But Myung was fading. The labor had taken too much. She wouldn't last 6 hours. Take the egg, Myung gasped to Do-hyun. Keep it warm. Promise me. No, Taewon said. He picked up the egg and cradled it against his chest. I will carry it. My heart burns hotter. My body is made for this. Taewon, Myung whispered. You would do this? You are Pack, Taewon said simply. The hatchling is Pack. This is what alphas do. We carry the future. For 6 hours, the alpha warrior became an incubator. He held the egg against his chest where his massive heart pumped heat. His war pack formed a circle around him, silent and respectful. Do-hyun sat with Myung, holding her hand, whispering promises of the future. Hana worked to keep Myung stable. Fluids, medication, everything she had. The Vraxian female clung to consciousness by pure will. When the egg began to crack, everyone held their breath. Tiny claws emerged. A small snout. The hatchling struggled, pushing against the shell. Taewon carefully helped, breaking away pieces of shell. And then the hatchling was free. Tiny, perfect. Scales already dark like its mother's. It made a small chirping sound. A daughter, Taewon said, placing the hatchling in Myung's arms. Strong, healthy, beautiful, Myung wept. Do-hyun wept. Even some of the warriors had to turn away, overwhelmed. 4 down, Hana said. 1 more. The human woman, Valora, went into labor from the stress of watching the other births. Her labor was relatively simple compared to the others. No special requirements, just a normal human birth. But normal did not mean easy. Hana coached her through it. Breathe, push, rest. The Vraxian warriors watched with fascination. So this was how humans were born. So small, so vulnerable, so quiet. When Valora's daughter finally emerged, crying loudly, the sound filled the medical bay. The other mothers smiled. The warriors looked amazed. She is loud, Junho said with approval. Small but fierce. All human babies are loud, Hana said, laughing with exhaustion. It's how we survive. We cry until someone helps us. She handed the baby to Valora and stepped back. 5 mothers, 5 births. Different species, different biologies. All alive, all healthy, she had done it. The room started spinning. Hana's legs gave out. She felt herself falling. Strong arms caught her. Taewon lifted her like she weighed nothing, cradling her against his chest. His scales were warm. His heart beat steady and strong beneath her ear. Hana's mind raced. She had no proper chemical bath. The ship's supplies were limited. But she had a chemistry lab. And she had Do-hyun. Do-hyun, I need you to make a solution. Here's the chemical formula. She rattled off compounds and ratios. Can you do it? On it, Do-hyun said, already running to the lab. Wraith's larvae began emerging. Tiny translucent things that looked like grains of rice. They came fast. Dozens of them. Hana had 4 Vraxian warriors stationed around Wraith, their multiple arms catching larvae as they emerged. It was surreal. These massive predators, each one capable of tearing metal, handling newborn larvae with infinite gentleness. Their claws became instruments of care. Their rough voices murmured encouragement. Do-hyun returned with containers of solution. Will this work? Hana tested it quickly. Close enough. It would have to be. Start placing larvae in the solution. Gently, one per container. They worked for 20 minutes. 89 larvae in total. Every single one survived, writhing happily in their makeshift baths. Wraith wept with relief. One down, Hana muttered. 4 to go. The Delphine female, Naya, went into labor next. Her twins were coming, but she needed water. Full immersion. The ship's water system was contaminated with radiation. We create pool, said Soman. With our bodies. We hold water. Keep it warm. That's insane, Hana started to say. Then she realized it might work. Vraxian body temperature ran hot. They could heat and hold water. 6 warriors formed a circle, their arms linked together. Do-hyun jury-rigged a water recycling system to pour clean water into the living basin. Within minutes, they had a small pool, kept at perfect temperature by the warriors' body heat. Naya slipped into the water with a sigh of relief. Her gills flared. Within an hour, both twins emerged, healthy and strong. The warriors who had served as the pool looked exhausted but proud. 2 down, Hana said, but her hands were shaking now. The stress was building. 3 more births. 3 more chances for something to go wrong. The Gorvan female, Zira, had been in labor for 3 days. She was dying. Her massive frame trembled with exhaustion, but she refused help. Is weakness, Zira growled when Hana approached. Gorvan births alone. Asking for help is shame. Your pride will kill you, Hana said bluntly. And your baby. Is that honorable? Is tradition, Zira said, but her voice wavered. Hana knelt beside the massive female. My mother died because she was too proud to ask for help. She thought she could handle it alone. She was wrong. I was 10 years old when I watched her die. Don't make your child watch you die for the same stupid reason. Zira's eyes filled with tears. I am so tired, she whispered. So very tired. Then rest, Hana said gently. Let me work. Let me save you both. The birth was brutal. The baby was enormous, stuck in the birth canal. Hana had to perform an emergency procedure that made her stomach turn. She cut, she pulled. She worked with blood up to her elbows while Zira screamed. But when the baby finally emerged, wailing and healthy, Zira looked at Hana with something like worship. Clan Mother, she said, using the highest title her people had. You are Clan Mother. You saved my line. 3 down, Hana whispered. Her vision swam. When had she last slept? 40 hours ago? 50? The human and the Vraxian remain, Taewon said softly. He appeared beside her, offering water. Drink, rest for 5 minutes. Can't rest. They need me. They need you alive, Taewon said firmly. Drink. I will watch them. Nothing will happen in 5 minutes, Hana drank. The water tasted like metal, but she didn't care. Around her, the medical bay had become something strange and beautiful. Vraxian warriors cradling alien young. Mothers from different species helping each other. A human, a Korthan, a Delphine, a Gorvan and a Vraxian all together, bound by the shared experience of birth. Myung's labor began with complications. Vraxian births were always dangerous. The egg came first, large and hard-shelled. Then the mother's body needed 6 hours to recover before helping the hatchling break free. If the mother was too weak, the hatchling died trapped. The egg emerged, beautiful, pale blue with dark veins. But Myung was fading. The labor had taken too much. She wouldn't last 6 hours. Take the egg, Myung gasped to Do-hyun. Keep it warm. Promise me. No, Taewon said. He picked up the egg and cradled it against his chest. I will carry it. My heart burns hotter. My body is made for this, Taewon, Myung whispered. You would do this? You are Pack, Taewon said simply. The hatchling is Pack. This is what alphas do. We carry the future. For 6 hours, the alpha warrior became an incubator. He held the egg against his chest where his massive heart pumped heat. His war pack formed a circle around him, silent and respectful. Do-hyun sat with Myung, holding her hand, whispering promises of the future. Hana worked to keep Myung stable. Fluids, medication, everything she had. The Vraxian female clung to consciousness by pure will. When the egg began to crack, everyone held their breath. Tiny claws emerged. A small snout. The hatchling struggled, pushing against the shell. Taewon carefully helped, breaking away pieces of shell, and then the hatchling was free. Tiny. Perfect, scales already dark like its mother's. It made a small chirping sound. A daughter, Taewon said, placing the hatchling in Myung's arms. Strong, healthy, beautiful. Myung wept. Dohyun wept. Even some of the warriors had to turn away, overwhelmed. 4 down, Hana said. 1 more. The human woman, Valora, went into labor from the stress of watching the other births. Her labor was relatively simple compared to the others. No special requirements, just a normal human birth. But normal did not mean easy. Hana coached her through it. Breathe, push, rest. The Vraxian warriors watched with fascination. So this was how humans were born. So small, so vulnerable, so quiet. When Valora's daughter finally emerged, crying loudly, the sound filled the medical bay. The other mothers smiled. The warriors looked amazed. She is loud, Junho said with approval. Small but fierce. All human babies are loud, Hana said, laughing with exhaustion. It's how we survive. We cry until someone helps us. She handed the baby to Valora and stepped back. 5 mothers, 5 births. Different species, different biologies. All alive, all healthy. She had done it. The room started spinning. Hana's legs gave out. She felt herself falling. Strong arms caught her. Taewon lifted her like she weighed nothing, cradling her against his chest. His scales were warm, his heartbeat steady and strong beneath her ear. Rest now, he said softly. You have earned it. Hana tried to protest. There was still work to do. The mothers needed monitoring. The babies needed checking. But exhaustion dragged her down like a tide. I will watch them, Taewon promised. My pack will watch them. You have given them life. Now let us give you rest. As consciousness faded, Hana heard him speaking to his warriors. His voice was full of wonder and respect. I have seen warriors face death with less courage. I have seen mothers in their nests with less ferocity. This human is something the galaxy has not seen before. Remember this day? Remember what we witnessed? His claws, designed for killing, gently brushed sweat-soaked hair from her forehead. The gesture was tender, protective. Something shifted in the air between them. The last thing Hana saw before sleep took her was Taewon's face above hers. Those red eyes that should have been frightening but somehow were not. That alien face that was starting to feel familiar. Safe, she thought. I feel safe. It was a strange thought. A dangerous thought. But as sleep claimed her in the arms of a Vraxian alpha, Hana could not bring herself to fight it. Hana woke to the sound of babies crying. Not just one. All 5 types in their different ways. The Korthan larvae clicking, the Delphine twins whistling, the Gorvan child rumbling, the Vraxian hatchling chirping, the human baby wailing. A chorus of new life. She sat up slowly. Her body ached everywhere. How long had she slept? 4 hours? 5? Not nearly enough, but the sounds of the babies pulled her from rest. Taewon appeared beside her with water and food. The mothers are well. The young are healthy. You did the impossible, Dr. Kim. We did it together, Hana corrected. She took the water gratefully. How long until we can leave? Dohyun says 12 hours. He is repairing the science vessel enough to limp home. Both ships together will be safer than one alone. Taewon paused. The return journey will be difficult with so many. But we will manage. The return journey took 30 hours. The ships were overcrowded and resources stretched thin. But something remarkable happened during that long flight. The walls between species began to crumble. Vraxian warriors took turns holding human babies. Korthan larvae were passed around with wonder. The Delphine twins charmed everyone with their playful swimming. The Gorvan child, already strong, tried to wrestle with warriors 10 times her size. And Myung's hatchling became the darling of both ships. Hana watched it all with tired satisfaction. This was why she became a doctor. Not for the glory. For moments like this, life continuing despite everything, she found herself spending more time near Taewon. Not deliberately. It just happened. When she checked on patients, he was there. When she ate, he joined her. When she stood at viewports watching the stars, he appeared beside her. They talked about everything. About their worlds, their losses, their hopes. Taewon told her about Vraxian culture, the honor codes and hunting traditions. Hana explained human customs, the value placed on compassion and cooperation. Your people are strange, Taewon said one night. They were alone in the observation deck, watching space flow past. You are so weak individually. Yet you survived a death world. How? We protect each other, Hana said. One human alone dies easily. But humans together? We are strong. We share knowledge. We share resources. We refuse to abandon anyone. Even the weak? Taewon asked. Even those who cannot contribute. Especially them, Hana said firmly. Because weak today does not mean weak tomorrow. The child who needs help today becomes the doctor who saves lives tomorrow. Everyone deserves a chance. Taewon was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, My people could learn from yours. We value strength too much. Forget that strength comes in many forms. He looked at her and Hana felt her breath catch. His red eyes were intense but not frightening. Not anymore. You are strong, Taewon said softly, in ways I never understood before. You stood alone in that medical bay and saved 5 lives. You never wavered, never gave up. That is the strength of your people. The refusal to surrender. I was terrified, Hana admitted. The whole time. I thought I would fail. But you did not, Taewon said. That is courage. Not the absence of fear. Acting despite fear. They stood close, closer than necessary in the empty observation deck. Hana was hyper-aware of his presence, his warmth, the steady sound of his breathing. This is dangerous, she said quietly. What we are doing. Getting close like this. Our species barely understand each other. I know, Taewon said. My pack is already concerned. Some see it as weakness. The alpha showing affection to prey species. The word prey stung. Hana stepped back. Is that what you see, prey? No, Taewon said immediately. He reached out, then stopped, his hand hovering in the space between them. I see an equal. A partner. Someone who makes me want to be better than tradition demands. Hana took his hand. His scales were rough but warm. His claws could have torn through her, but they curled gently around her fingers. I have spent my whole life protecting myself, Hana said. Taking care of others, but never letting anyone take care of me. It is exhausting. Being strong all the time. Then rest, Taewon said. Let me be strong for you sometimes. Let someone else carry the burden. Why? Hana asked. Why do you care? We barely know each other. I watched you save 5 lives, Taewon said. I watched you refuse to give up when everything was against you. I watched you treat my warriors with kindness when most species fear us. I have seen your heart, Hana Kim, and it is beautiful. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No one had ever looked at her the way Taewon did now. Like she was precious, worth protecting, worth caring for. She leaned against him just for a moment. His arms came around her, careful and gentle. They stood together in the darkness between stars, 2 beings from different worlds finding unexpected connection. Behind them, neither noticed one of Taiwan's warriors watching. Kale, his second in command. His face was troubled as he turned away. Word spread through both ships during the remaining journey. The Alpha and the human doctor. Some found it romantic. Others found it scandalous. The Vraxian warriors were divided. Half supported their Alpha's choice. The other half whispered that he was forgetting his duty. Kale confronted Taewon in the cargo bay. Hana, passing by, heard their raised voices and stopped to listen. You dishonor yourself, Kale said harshly, showing weakness for prey. The pack loses faith. Weakness? Taewon's voice was dangerously quiet. I have killed 1,000 enemies, proven my strength in 1,000 hunts, but never have I seen strength like hers. To heal what we break. To nurture what we would devour. To stand small before the universe and say, no, you will not have these lives. She is not Vraxian, Kyle protested. She is not even Predator. She is nothing to us. She is everything, Taewon said quietly. She showed us a different kind of strength. One we need, one I need. If you cannot see her worth, then you see nothing. There was a long silence. Then Kale spoke again, his voice changed. You would truly claim her as mate? If she will have me, Taewon said. Yes, Hana's heart raced. She should not be listening. Should walk away, but her feet would not move. Then half the pack will follow you, Kale said, and half will turn away. You choose her over your own kind. I choose what is right, Taewon said, over what is easy. That is what alphas do. If the pack cannot follow, they are free to leave. But I will not abandon her, not now, not ever. Hana walked away before she could hear more. Her hands shook. He was willing to lose everything for her. His position, his pack, everything. The weight of that sacrifice was almost too much to bear. She found Myung in the medical bay, nursing her hatchling. The Vraxian female looked up and smiled. You heard. How did you know? Hana asked. Your face, Myung said. You look like I did when Do-hyun first told me he loved me. Terrified and hopeful in equal measure, Hana sat down heavily. This is insane. We barely know each other. Our species are so different. It could never work. Maybe, Myung said. Probably. The galaxy will fight us every step. But Do-hyun and I have been fighting for a year. Every day is hard. Every day someone tells us we are wrong. But every day I wake up with him and know I made the right choice. Is it worth it? Hana whispered. All the pain? All the judgment? Myung looked at her hatchling, then at Hana. Look at what we created. A child of two worlds, beautiful, strong, perfect, yes, every wound, every scar, all worth it. When they finally docked at Void's Edge, thousands had gathered. The story of their rescue had spread ahead. Everyone wanted to see the impossible rescue team. The human doctor and Vraxian warriors who had done what no one thought possible. Cameras flashed as they emerged. Questions were shouted. Hana walked beside Taewon, feeling exposed and vulnerable. The crowd was enormous, and not all the faces were friendly. She saw Vraxians holding signs with angry words, saw humans doing the same, saw species she could not name, all watching with judgment or curiosity or hope. Dr. Kim, someone shouted. Is it true you delivered 5 different species? Yes, Hana said simply. Alpha Taewon. Did you really carry a Vraxian egg for 6 hours? I did, Taewon said. It was an honor. What is your relationship? Another voice shouted. Are the rumors true? Hana froze. She and Taewon exchanged glances. Before either could answer, someone else shouted from the crowd. Traitor, you betray your own kind. More voices joined in. Angry. Hateful. Hana felt Taewon move closer, his body positioning to protect her. His warriors formed a circle. But then other voices rose. The mothers they had saved stepped forward. Wraith with her larvae. Naya with her twins. Zira with her massive child. Valora with her baby. Myung and Do-hyun with their hatchling. They saved us, Valora said loudly. When everyone else gave up, they came. My children live because of them, Naya added. They are heroes, Zira rumbled. Both species together. The crowd shifted. Arguments broke out. But slowly, gradually, the anger began to fade. How could anyone argue with living proof? 5 mothers, 5 sets of healthy young, all alive because of cooperation between species. Station security finally pushed through, clearing a path. Hana and Taewon were separated in the chaos. She looked back, trying to find him in the crowd. Their eyes met across the distance. Something passed between them. A promise. A commitment. Whatever came next, they would face it together. But as Hana was led away to debriefing, she could not shake the feeling that the hard part was just beginning. They had saved lives in the storm. Now they had to survive the storm that came after. The attacks began 3 days after their return. Small things at first. Vandalism on Hana's clinic, threatening messages, angry protests outside Taewon's quarters. The station administration tried to control it, but the controversy was spreading. Hana tried to ignore it. She had work to do, patients to see, but the tension was building. She could feel it in the air. Something bad was coming. The Vraxian Dominion sent official delegates demanding Taewon return home. They called his actions dishonorable, said he had forgotten warrior traditions. Taewon refused to leave. Meanwhile, human colonial authorities questioned Hana. Why had she risked so much for aliens? Why had she formed connections with potential enemies? She gave them the same answer every time. Because it was right. But worse than official disapproval were the extremists. A faction of Vraxian traditionalists, led by a war leader named Kashax, had arrived on the station. They saw Taewon as a traitor to their species, and they saw Hana as the corruption that needed to be removed. It happened on a night shift. Hana was alone in her clinic treating late patients. The first sign of trouble was the power cutting out. Then the emergency doors sealed. Hana's training kicked in immediately. She moved patients to the most secure room, barricaded the door, grabbed what she could use as weapons, scalpels, chemical sprays, anything. They came through the main entrance like shadows, 6 Vraxian warriors all loyal to Kashax, all determined to send a message by destroying everything Hana had built. The first one found her in the surgical suite. He was huge, even for a Vraxian. He laughed when he saw her. Little human doctor, he said mockingly. So brave. So foolish. You corrupted our alpha. Now you will learn the price. Hana did not run, did not beg. She had spent years studying Vraxian biology, knew exactly where their weak points were. When he lunged, she moved. The surgical laser caught him in the heat-sensing eye. He screamed. Hana darted away, already preparing the next defense. She flooded one corridor with nitrogen gas. Vraxian heat sensors went wild in extreme cold. They stumbled, disoriented. Another attacker cornered her in the pharmacy. Hana threw a compound that caused temporary paralysis. The warrior crashed to the floor, muscles locked. She fought like a doctor, precise, efficient, never killing, only disabling. Her knowledge became her weapon. Every strike was calculated to cause maximum pain with minimum permanent damage. Because even now, even defending herself, she was a healer first. By the time the third attacker fell, the others realized this would not be easy. The small human was not prey. She was dangerous. They regrouped and came at her together. Hana retreated to the patient room, stood in front of the barricaded door. 3 Vraxian warriors faced her. She was exhausted, bleeding from a dozen cuts, armed with only a scalpel and a spray hypo. Last chance, human, one said. Surrender. Promise to leave the station. Denounce the Alpha. We might let you live. Hana's answer was to raise her scalpel. Behind her were patients who could not defend themselves. Ahead were enemies who wanted to destroy everything she stood for. There was no choice at all. Come and try, she said quietly. They charged. Hana braced herself. This was it. She would not win. But she would not surrender either. She would fight until she could not fight anymore. The wall exploded inward. Taewon came through like a force of nature, his warriors behind him. He had received word of the attack and raced across the station. Now he stood between Hana and her attackers, and his fury was terrible to behold. You dare, Taewon said, his voice shaking with rage. You dare attack those under my protection. You dare dishonor the warrior code with this coward's ambush. She has made you weak, one of the attackers spat. Look at you, defending prey. You are not worthy to lead warriors. Taewon looked back at Hana. She was still standing, still armed, blood on her clothes and fire in her eyes. She had defended her clinic and patients against multiple attackers. Alone. Outmatched. But unbowed. Look at her, Taewon said softly. Really look. She stood alone against warriors and survived. She bore every young through the storm and lost none. She is no prey. She is fire, and I choose to guard that fire. Behind them, more warriors arrived. Kashax himself pushed through. He was older than Taewon, covered in battle scars, radiating authority. Taewon, Kashax said, this has gone far enough. Step aside. Let us finish what we started. The human corruption must be removed. No, Taewon said simply. Then I invoke the right of challenge, Kashax said. Single combat. If I win, you and your pack submit to proper authority. If you win, my followers will accept your judgment. This is warrior law. Will you honor it? Taewon glanced at Hana. She wanted to protest, to stop this. But she understood. This was the only way, the only language Kashax's followers would respect. I accept, Taewon said, but I add my own condition. When I win, you and your followers will swear to protect Dr. Kim. You will acknowledge her strength. You will recognize that power comes in many forms. Agreed, Kashax said with a cruel smile. When I win, she leaves the station forever, and you lose your alpha status. The fight happened in the central arena. Thousands gathered to watch. Human, Vraxian, dozens of other species, all wanting to see how this would end. Hana stood at the edge of the arena, her heart in her throat. Dohyun held her hand tightly. Around them, the mothers she had saved gathered in support. Myung held her hatchling. Valora held her baby. Naya's twins played at her feet. Wraith's larvae clicked softly. Zira stood like a mountain, radiating protective fury. The duel was brutal. Kashax was older but experienced. He had fought in 100 battles. His tactics were vicious, his strength immense. But Taewon fought with something Kashax did not have. Purpose. Every time he was knocked down, he stood. Every time Kashax pushed him back, he pushed forward. Because he was not just fighting for himself. He was fighting for something bigger. For change. For the possibility of something new. For her. The fight lasted an hour. Both warriors bled. Both staggered. The arena fell silent as they circled each other, both near collapse. Then Taewon saw his opening. A feint, a strike. Kashax went down and did not get up. Taewon stood over the fallen warrior, his body covered in wounds. Blood dripped onto the arena floor. But he stood. He had won. The arena erupted, cheers, protests, arguments, but the law was clear. Taewon had won. His terms were binding. He turned to face the crowd. His voice carried across the arena, amplified by speakers. I am Vraxian. I am Predator. I am Alpha. And I claim this human as my mate, not because I am weak, but because I am strong enough to recognize strength you cannot see. He pointed at Hana. She stood alone against warriors and won. She bore every species young through the storm and saved them all. She is no prey. She is fire, and I choose to guard that fire so it may light the way for all of us. Hana felt tears on her face. She walked into the arena, ignoring the stares, ignoring the whispers. She walked to Taewon and stood beside him. He was wounded, exhausted, but when he looked at her, his eyes were warm. I don't need a guard, Hana said clearly, her voice carrying. I've never needed protecting, but I choose to accept this alliance, not because I am weak, but because I have learned something here. True strength is not standing alone. True strength is knowing when to stand together. She took his clawed hand in hers. The gesture was defiant and beautiful. Let the galaxy see this. Human and Vraxian, healer and warrior, fire and guard. Let them see what we become when we stop fearing each other. The silence that followed was profound. Then slowly someone began to clap. Then another, then more. Not everyone. Many still looked angry. Many still disapproved. But enough to matter. In the days that followed, change rippled outward. Myung and Do-hyun came forward publicly with their relationship. Other cross-species couples hidden in fear began to emerge. The mothers whose lives Hana saved became vocal advocates. Not everyone accepted it. There were still protests, still anger, still those who called them traitors, but something had shifted. The impossible had become possible. A week later, Hana reopened her clinic. But it was different now. Vraxian warriors stood guard. Not over her, with her. Taewon had reorganized his war pack into something new. Protectors of the vulnerable, guardians of those who could not fight. They called themselves Fire Guards. In honor of her. On a quiet afternoon, Hana treated a patient. A young Vraxian with a broken arm. One of Kashax's former followers who had attacked her clinic. He was nervous, expecting anger, but Hana treated him with the same care she showed everyone. Set the bone. Applied the cast. Gave him pain medication. Why? The young warrior asked. I tried to hurt you. Why help me? Hana smiled. Because you're hurt, and I'm a doctor. That's all that matters. Taewon watched from the doorway. Kel stood beside him now, having accepted his alpha's choice. The other species will never fully understand, Kel said. They will always think we are weak for this. Let them think what they will, Taewon replied. We know the truth. The strongest predator is not the one who destroys everything. It is the one who chooses what to protect, what to nurture, what to guard. He watched Hana work, watched her gentle hands and fierce determination, watched her save lives without hesitation or judgment. She is my fire, Taewon said softly, and I will guard her until the stars go cold. That evening, as the station's lights dimmed for night cycle, Hana and Taewon stood together on an observation deck. The galaxy stretched out before them, infinite and unknown. It won't be easy, Hana said. People will fight us, judge us, make every day difficult. I know, Taewon said. But nothing worthwhile is easy. Are we crazy? Hana asked. Trying to make this work? Probably, Taewon said. He reached out and gently touched her face with one clawed hand. The gesture was tender despite his fearsome appearance. But the greatest things are always born from beautiful madness. Hana leaned into his touch. In this moment, nothing else mattered. Not the protests, not the judgment, not the difficulties ahead, just this. Two beings from different worlds choosing to stand together. I'm glad you volunteered for that rescue mission, Hana said softly. So am I, Taewon replied. I went to save lives. I found something far more valuable. What's that? A reason to believe the galaxy can change. One connection at a time, one choice at a time, one act of courage at a time. They stood together as the stars wheeled overhead. Around them, Void's edge station hummed with life. Hundreds of species, thousands of beings, all trying to find their way in an uncertain universe. And somewhere in that chaos, a human doctor and a Vraxian warrior had found each other, had chosen each other, had proven that the walls between species were not as solid as everyone believed. The fire burned, and the Alpha stood guard, not because she needed protection, but because together they were stronger than apart. Together they would light the way forward, for themselves, for their unlikely family, for everyone brave enough to follow. The galaxy was vast. The challenges were many, but they had something precious, something rare, hope, and the courage to fight for it. That was enough, for now, for always.